Good morning, industry explorers. Today, I have Tracy Kay joining me to share with us her journey from a theater dancer to a home stager. Tracy, how are you this morning?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
I'm so excited to have you. You shared your story with me a little bit before we did this, and I think it's a really important story to hear, especially now during COVID with so many people struggling with their identity because they attribute their work and their career as a big part of who they are. And in especially this year, a lot of people have to pivot. A lot of people have to
Yeah.
pivot industries just as you've done. So, let's just get right into it. Now,
Okay.
you graduated from the Baltimore High School of the
hmm
Arts. And
hmm
then from there, you became a New York City theater dancer.
I did. So, yeah, I went to a high school for the performing arts in Baltimore as a dance major. And I was doing dinner theater all through high school and performing in my local theaters and different shows. And my first big professional job was working at the live show in King's Dominion theme park in 1985. I did Gotta Dance, and it was fabulous. And then from there, I got cruise ships and industrials. And then I started doing regional theaters and national tours and European tours and
Oh, wow.
loved it. Just, I was a dancer. It's what I wanted to do. And that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in my very late 20s, I felt like I had done everything that I wanted to do. And I was repeating jobs. And I had gotten myself to a point where it's like, okay, this is fun. I, I'm doing this again. And I'm doing this
Mhm.
again. And I'm doing this again. And I've checked that off my list 5 contracts ago. And
Yeah.
showmances. And here I'm packing my bags again. And then I just started to think, around the age of 29 and 30, oh, what comes next? And then that started to become very unsettling for me to think,
Mm.
what comes next? What's after this? And I was doing splits backstage before a show to warm up.
Mhm.
And I looked at my best friend who was also doing splits with me, and I said, this this is hard. I'm not snapping out of this as easily. This I don't know that I want to keep doing this anymore. Like I'm in a split and I'm thinking, oh God, now I have to get out of this split. I
Yeah.
have to back up out of this. And there was a time when I was just bounce up and okay, let's go. And now it's like, I gotta get up out of this split. And this is heavy and this is hard. And I don't think I can continue physically doing this anymore. And then that started me on the journey of holy cow, if I'm not a dancer, who am I? What am I? And how do I move on in life? So that's a bit of an earth shattering moment for one.
When you were, sorry for my dog.
Hi, puppy.
Hi, Cooper. They're like toddlers, they just love getting in the way. I'm sure I'll
Yeah.
have a toddler one day. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, when you were a dancer, before you had that earth-shattering moment, what was your dream job? Now, I know some people say dream job is this role, but when you have that role, then within your little sphere, you're thinking, ooh, I want to perform at the Super Bowl. Ooh, I want to perform on a cruise ship. I want to go on tour in Europe. So before you were like, I don't want to do this anymore, what was your dream job or your dream goal?
You know what? I was super fortunate in that my dream job was the job that I was in the moment. No joke. So
Mhm.
when I was younger, I just wanted to dance. I didn't
Yeah.
care where I was dancing, who I was dancing with. I just wanted to dance. Just put me in the costume, put me on the thing, give me my dance partner, let me just dance.
I
So
love it.
that's
Yeah.
all I wanted to do. I just wanted to dance. I didn't have a goal of I wanted to dance there or here or I wasn't specific. I just wanted to dance. So when I was in high school, there was an audition for King's Dominion. And me and my other high school dancer friends were like, oh, let's go to the audition. And then when I was at King's Dominion, Jean Ann Ryan was there choreographing for us, and she had a production company that did cruise ships. And I was like, that sounds like fun. Let me go do that. And then
That sounds cool.
after I had done that, somebody else was doing industrials. And I was like, that sounds like fun. I want to do an industrial too. And then I saw a show called Ziegfeld Follies, and I fell in love with the show. I had to be in the show. And then there was a national tour of it going out, and I auditioned for the show and got the show. And then my girlfriend was doing a European tour, a tour that went to Europe. Like I could, like somebody was going to pay me to get on a plane and travel all over Europe. And all I had to do was dance. Oh my God, sign me up. Like
that's, I can only like, that is just how like all people in entertainment feel when they get to do these jobs, you know, like from performer to stagehand, everybody's like, wait, you mean I get paid to do this?
Yeah.
Sign me up. Heck yeah.
And that's just how I was with every job that I did. It was just like, oh my God, this is fun. And this is so much fun. And this, I loved it. So
you really went where the wind took you.
Yeah. I just went with the flow, and I was, honestly, no joke, I was pretty content all along the path because I kept having new and fun experiences. And then I was like, oh, I get to go there, and I get to do that. Okay, yeah. You know, I was just really excited until after I had done everything, and I was like so excited. And then I started repeating jobs. Like, okay, now I'm doing this again. Okay, well, that's fun. Oh, now I'm doing this again. Okay, all right. Okay, now I'm doing this again.
Yeah.
That's when it started to feel a little bit like, okay, it's not new and fresh. And then when I hit 30, my body started to feel I couldn't do back handsprings anymore. I wasn't able to do front flips over guys' heads and have them catch me in the cradle anymore. My energy just started to feel a little heavier, like my physical body. I started to feel a little heavier. And then I had my romances or my showmances. I had my heart broken a few times when, when the show came to an end and he was from one part of the country and you were from another, and your life went directions. And then it started to, then I started having a little heartache. And then I think I just felt like, yay, I did everything that I wanted to do. And it was a really fun journey. And then it was time to move on. But in the moment, whatever job I was in was really my dream job in that moment. I just wanted to dance.
I love that. Now, when I had asked you about the topics that we were going to discuss for this, somewhere along the lines, you wrote that you learned how to be more relaxed in the moment, and you learned how to live more in the moment and be okay with uncertainty. But funny enough, it sounds like you did have a little bit of that going on for you while you were doing your dancing career, because every next job was your dream job, and you really enjoyed everything. And you just, like I said, you went where the wind took you. So I'm really curious to see how your mindset had kind of developed through your experiences outside of dance, which leads me to my next question. How did you choose your next career?
Okay, so it was not easy. I just want to really get that message out there. It was not like I ended dancing, made the decision, and then woke up one day and I had the answer to my next career. It was a journey, and it was difficult. And I did have the luxury of, when I decided to stop dancing, just at that time, I had moved in with a boyfriend, and I can see I got a little bit of glare on my, there we go. I had moved in with a boyfriend, and so he was paying the rent. So I didn't have a lot of financial responsibility on me because I had moved out of my New York City apartment. And I had a little time to figure some things out. So I got a part-time job doing organizational stuff, working in an office to like just keep me busy. But I had to do a lot of soul searching. I really had, and I went to, I attended career counseling classes. I took courses on like, what are your aptitudes? What are your God-given gifts? And my identity was really wrapped tightly in being a dancer. I mean, since I was a little girl, I was only shown the path of being a dancer. And so I really just want to get through that. It was not easy. It didn't happen quickly. It was a process. And there was a little bit of anguish is a very strong word, but I was like, I'm not getting the answer here. Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? I'm swimming in uck. And so it took a while for me to go through the career counseling, to talk to my friends, to take aptitude tests. I think I took every online, what is your parachute? Where do you belong? Test there is. And the way it came to me one day is my boyfriend at the time kept saying to me, the writing is on the wall. Don't you see that you're an interior designer? And I was like, just because I like to decorate doesn't mean I'm an interior designer. I don't want to work for a wealthy woman and decorate one room in her house and make my money on overpriced window treatments.
Yeah.
I was like, that's so not what I want. And then I'm watching HGTV like I did around the clock because I thought it was normal. I thought everyone tuned into HGTV 24/7.
I love HGTV. I'm with you there.
Yeah, like I didn't think there was a clue into what my hobbies were. And my boyfriend at the time said to me, Tracy, what do you love doing best? What is it that you enjoy doing the most? And I gave that a minute and I looked at him straight in the face and said, I really like rearranging furniture. He was like, oh my. Yeah, think of something else because no one's going to pay you to rearrange their furniture. And then, no joke, I'm watching HGTV like I do, and something came on HGTV about home staging and how to rearrange somebody's furniture, rugs, art, and decor in the home so that it showcases like a model home. And a light bulb went off. And I was like, oh my God, that's it. So immediately I popped online and I started doing research. And I found out I could get certified in this. And I found out where the classes were occurring. And there was actually a company that certified people in becoming a stager. And then I was like, yes. So it was agonizing in finding it. But once I found it and I was like, that's it. Once I had the clarity, then I had the direction to go in and I started off on that path.
So it sounds like deep soul searching is very much a process. How long was this frame of time in which you were deciding, like from the moment you were in your splits and decided that you wanted to stop dancing, you had accomplished everything that you wanted to accomplish in that realm, to that aha moment of, I want to rearrange furniture. I want to stage homes. This is something that I enjoy. How long was that process? And I'm sure that process probably continued even after your aha moment.
It did. And so there was a mini step in between. So the in-between step was once I decided to leave dancing and I moved with my boyfriend and I took a regular job, we got married and I got pregnant and I became a stay-at-home mom in the interim. And so that put everything on hold because all my focus was on raising the baby. And again, I was in a very, very fortunate set of circumstances that I was allowed, I had the luxury to be a stay-at-home mom. Okay.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
very fortunate. And then I had baby number 2. And then it was after baby number 2 where I thought I cannot continue to be a stay-at-home mom. I must find a career. And
Mhm.
after I said I need to find a career because my role as a dancer is far in the past now. I had stopped dancing, I guess 5 to 6 years. I was a stay-at-home mom for 5 or 6 years.
Mhm.
Um, then I started to feel like, what is my next career? And after I made the decision I wanted to go back to work, it took me a year before I found staging and I was able to go back to work.
When you decided that you wanted to have a career, did you was there any adversity from wanting to go from stay-at-home mom to working mom?
No, fortunately not.
That's good.
My husband
I'm
at the
glad.
time was very supportive. I just felt like I had so much creative energy in me that
Mhm.
I needed an outlook, and singing Wheels on the Bus go round and round one more time with my then 4-year-old was not cutting it for me. And so I was feeling a lot
Yeah.
of like
No choreography to that?
yeah, you can only take it so far. And yes, I was
Different dancing career.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I felt a rumbling inside of me. It was I started to feel very uncomfortable, and I had a rumbling inside of me that I needed to do something. I needed a creative outlet in the world. And yes,
Mhm.
I still hung on to my identity as a dancer. And to this day, I'm 54 years old. I've been staging for 15 years. Just so all the theater people out there, I never let go of that identity. Like, I feel like I'm always going to be a dancer. Like, that's always my identity, even though I can now say, oh yes, I make my living as a home stager and I'm pretty darn good at it. And yes, I
Mhm.
developed this other skill set. Strangely enough, I still feel in my soul that I'm a dancer.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
yeah, I've never been able to shed that. That's with me, and I think it will always be with me. Just for your audience to know that.
I think that's really important to know because you will always have those experiences. You will always have those memories. That is always going to be a part of you. And it's it's a part of what makes you a whole person. Your whole identity is not based on what you do for a career. It's what you do for a career is a part of who you are. And I think that I agree. That is really important for people to know because if you only wrap up yourself in your work identity, then if you feel that you are disappointing someone or yourself, because you're most likely going to disappoint yourself, like you are your worst critic, then it's easy to get wrapped up in your own thoughts and it's easy to just have a cloudy mindset and then not be able to go be the best that you can be, you know. But I love that you said that will always be part of your identity.
Yeah, I was never so for your audience, like especially for dancers that might be thinking about transitioning now, whether it's being opposed on upon them or whether they're making the conscious choice, like now's a good time to do it. I don't know that we theater people or entertainers or people that grew up in that industry, I don't know that we ever let go of that identity. That's a piece of me that I carry with me. And strangely enough,
Mhm.
every now and again, someone will say to me, "Were you ever a dancer?" And I'm like, "How did you know that?" And they're like, "Just the way you carry your body." Yeah, just
Mhm.
the way like I would bend over and pick something up or do stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah, so just yeah, I think it's important for people who are now considering the transition. You're always that's your identity as a performer, as an entertainer is always going to be with you. You're never going to shed it. Keep it with you, embrace it, and then just say, okay, what more do I have to offer the world? What more is inside of me? What more can I bring to the table?
Mm-hmm. I love that. You know, it reminds me of how people have their alumni license plate covers and
Oh,
alumni jackets and alumni stickers. Like, you are always going to be an alumni of a school
yeah, right.
if you graduate from a high school or a university. Like, that's always going to be part of who you are. It's something that will, you know, likely always be on your resume. So having that identity as a creative, as an artist, performer, entertainment worker, stagehand, all of that is still, it's always going to be part of you. And even if you pivot industries, whether it's a choice or you've been forced to due to COVID,
Mhm.
you will always be an alumni of the
Agreed.
creative, of the
Agreed.
theater, of entertainment, no
Agreed.
matter where you go or what you do.
Yep. And I think that's important for people who are in the middle or at the beginning of going through a transition to understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Now, so motherhood was this in between step for you
Yep.
between deciding that you wanted to make a change and then deciding, aha, this is what I
This is
enjoy
it.
doing the most.
Uh-huh.
Now, how did you become a home stager? You mentioned that you saw there were certifications. Was this a quick Google search? Did you
Yeah.
talk to people? How did you get all of this information?
Google. Thanks, Google.
Google.
Yeah. I once HGTV introduced the concept to me, I went on to Google and I Googled it and then I learned it because I had never heard of that phrase before, home staging or home stager. And
Yeah.
yeah, and then it developed through the years. So once the seed was planted for me, I went on to Google and I researched it and I learned you could go get certified. And so I went and got certified. And then what I started doing initially was rearranging furniture, rugs, art, and decor from people living in their home while it was on the market so that it looked really pretty. And
Mhm.
so what I initially did was as soon as I got certified, I went and knocked on the door of one of my neighbors who were selling their house. And I said, I just got certified as a stager. Could I help you for free? And just can I take pictures and use the pictures to start building a portfolio for myself? And they were like, yeah, okay. Sure. And then I was
Yeah.
like, are you okay if I do rearrange your furniture? And okay. And I was working with their realtor and they were just like, okay. They just let me do it. And I did it and it was successful. And then I did that a few more times to other people's homes, like people that were just neighbors in my neighborhood. No joke. Not going
Mhm.
to go, hi, I'm your neighbor. I live 7 houses down. You're selling your house. Can I stage it for you? At that time, no one knew what staging was. So I had to explain it to them. I had to explain how it worked and why it worked and what the benefit was to them. And then
Mhm.
once I started getting a portfolio, of course, this is 15 years ago, I had to learn how to get a website and
Yeah.
upload pictures and manage a website. And then I had to learn how to, oh, now I can actually start charging people for this. I had to figure out what are my fees and how do I charge and how do I collect a payment? And thank God for being a dancer all those years as when I freelanced as a 1099, I kind of knew how
Mhm.
to keep receipts for my taxes so that I could get all of that in order. So at least I had that little bit of background, but the rest of it I kind of had to learn as I went. And then I called my personal realtors up that I knew personally. And I said, hey, I learned how to stage and I have a website and I have a portfolio. And could I come stage some of your homes? And they started paying me. And that's how I got started.
That is just the beginning.
Yeah.
I wrote down some takeaways that I think people who are looking to pivot industries or students who are looking to get started in the workforce, there are some big lessons here. One, Google is your friend. If you
Yeah.
don't know the answer, you can just Google it and do your research. Just put in the due diligence to see what an industry is all about. And, you know, sure, a college degree is important, but there's certifications galore. A lot of jobs require various types of certifications, which your educational background, it's irrelevant when it comes to that. Whether you graduated high school or college, anybody can get a certification. I love certifications. So Google, find out what certifications are required. Call on your community. Start with the people you already know to see if you can provide a service for them. See if you can not only provide a service for them, or see if you need help with something, you can call on your community to see if they can put you in touch with the right people, and then build your portfolio. Just do the thing you want to do. Just do it. And then have a portfolio that you can show in the future so that you can start getting paid to do that thing that you want to do. Yeah. Honestly, I wish I had this advice when I was going through my college degree, because I don't know why. This is just, you would think that this is like common knowledge, but not everybody thinks about it that way. Not everybody thinks that it could be that easy or that systematic, because it's like, ooh, my dream job. And you just think of it as, you put it on this pedestal and it's like, ooh, that's the thing I want. Is it within reach? I can almost touch it, and it just seems like something that's just out of reach, but it's not. Like, you can do whatever it is that you want to do if you set your mind to it. And Tracy, you are the perfect example of just that. So that's how you got started.
That's how I got started. But to digress for just a minute, you just touched on something like, oh, my dream job. I think it's important that when we ask ourselves, what is our dream job? I think the next question we should ask ourselves is, what about doing that dream job is the essence of what would energize me or fuel me? For whatever reason, I don't know why, but I get energized rearranging a room and decorating a room. I just get lit up like a Christmas tree. So I think it's important for your audience, if they're going through this transition or at the beginning or they're at the end of it, to really have a clear understanding, what is it about the dream job that would energize them or light them up or give them energy, so that, and I think that's when you know that you're headed in the right direction, is what is it about the dream job. So I think it's important for everyone to ask 12 themselves, oh, did you, that's my Mac. My Mac does that. It reminds me every hour what time it is.
Everybody, just so you know.
God, it is now 12 o'clock. That keeps me on time throughout my day, on track. Yeah. But I just think it's, once I knew what that answer was for me, then all I had to do was say, okay, what's the next logical step? So once I knew that, I was excited by rearranging furniture and decorating, like, that's what it is. I love decorating. I love space planning. I love rearranging furniture.
Space plan. I have to know, what are some correlations between your dancing career and your home staging career?
You know what? I don't see any, other than the signs are kind of there. So between dancing and staging, the only thing I think that correlates is creativity. And as a dancer, I loved packing my suitcase and getting everything organized neatly to start the next gig. I loved having my makeup table all perfectly organized. And I would be like, okay, this is my makeup table here to here. Like, and my neighbors could not have their makeup brushes and all their bras and all their stuff coming on my side, because mine was super organized. Like, it was always, and I love doing my presets before the show, like getting all my costumes in order so that the show would run smoothly for me and everything would perfect. Like I just really enjoyed that aspect of being a dancer. Cray cray, I know. But if I look
Organization. Yeah.
organization, but if I look into my childhood, I was constantly rearranging my furniture as a teenager, and even my mother's furniture. Like I was always rearranging the houses, and I was always buying design books, and I was always watching design television, and I was and magazines, Better Homes and Gardens magazines. Like they were always on the tour bus with me.
Mhm.
I was always, so the signs were there. I just thought everyone did that. Like that was normal that everyone would do that. So once it clicked into place for me, like, okay, I love decorating, I love rearranging furniture, I love organizing. And then once I learned the title home staging, oh, what I love fits into this title. Then it was just asking myself, okay, what's the next logical step? What's the next logical step? I didn't see 2 or 3 steps ahead of that. I was just like, how do I start this? What's the next logical step? I knock on a neighbor's door. I call my realtor. I Google it. And then
Mhm.
it kept evolving. Then the next step would come and the next step. But in the beginning, all I got to the essence of, and I'm just reiterating this for your audience, because for me, it was not easy. I don't want anyone to feel like I woke up one morning and I made a career transition and life went on. It was not. It was hard. I had to do a lot of soul searching. I had to agonize it over it. The answer did not come to me quickly. It took
Yeah.
time for me to figure it out. And then and it was painstakingly tedious. It was like, okay, I like rearranging furniture. I like organizing. I took aptitude test after aptitude test. I mean, it was crazy what I went through. And
Mhm.
then once it came up on HGTV, home staging, and I was like, oh, everything that I like to do can actually fit under that title. Then it was like, okay, how do I start doing this? Because there's no company around here that I can apply for. I had to figure out how I could just start doing it. And then once I started doing it, I had to figure out, how do I monetize this? How do I
Mhm.
make a living from doing this? And it was just baby step after baby step after baby step. And yeah, there was a lot of uncertainty in there. I didn't know where the heck I was going with this and where it was leading me. But baby step after baby step, and then the money started to come, and then it started to get more solid, and then I started to become more secure with myself. Because I
Mhm.
was super insecure. I did not know what I was doing. I was scared
Yeah.
and really
And
insecure.
that's okay.
And that is okay. But I want your audience to know, when you're starting something new, like every toddler, when they're learning how to walk, they don't pop up and run a marathon on their first day. They stand up and they grab their balance and they fall. And then they stand up and they grab their balance and they're up for 3 seconds and then they fall again. And then they're up for 5 seconds and holy cow, they can take a step and then they fall again. Like, just as humans, we, especially with social media, we see so many people who seem to be thriving with ease. And then
Mhm.
we forget there's transitions, and it's not as easy as it looks. Just because somebody can post a picture of them smiling, that wasn't the journey to get there. Is it can sometimes be difficult and soul searching, and you try this and you fail, and you try that and you fail, and the failures are not failures. They're just letting you know, okay, that doesn't work, so let me try something else. Let me keep soul searching. Let me get through the weeds here and get to what can work. So I say that for your audience, that you just got to keep trying new things and trying on different things. Like I said, initially I thought interior designer, and I was like, oh god, no, that doesn't feel right to me.
Mhm.
And even with
Yeah.
painting, I tried different things and I had to fail to get to the failures.
Right.
I mean, to get to the successes, I had to fail to find what did work for me. And
there was a lot of trial and error.
Yeah, there was.
And it's not, and you're right, it's not like you just made a decision one day and poof, that was it. I mean, there was like 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, and even beyond that, you know, your evolution from doing it for free to where you are today was also a process. And I think when you are in the stage where you don't know what it is you want to do, when you start thinking about, okay, what gives me energy? What lights me up? What is it that I enjoy? What do I enjoy doing? That is such a huge part that's going to help anyone through the process. Think about it. If I tell you that if I plant the seed in your head that there are more white cars on the freeway than blue cars, which is probably true, but you're going to start only seeing white cars on the road. Or if I say, you know, man, there's so many Hondas on the road, like there's so many people buying Honda Civics, like that's the only thing you're going to start to see because you're thinking about it. And then when you're thinking about it, then you start to notice them more and more. I don't remember what that is called in psychology. Maybe someone can comment, but that's essentially what's happening that's what happened in your journey. You started thinking about what gives you energy. You thought, oh, I really like rearranging furniture. I really like organization. I have very good spatial awareness. And you start thinking about these things. So then when you're exposed to different jobs and industries, you start to be able to decipher whether it's something you want to do or something you don't want to do. And then it helps, it's all part of helping you find your path.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
So take us through that evolution of okay, you started working for free. You were working for a realtor, and then you were building your portfolio. How did you go from having a portfolio that you built from free jobs, working for free, to making it your full-time profession?
Okay.
What does that journey look like?
Okay. So I had a lot of passion and energy behind it because I was excited that, yay, I had found this. Now I get to do this, you know, and I was learning. I was insecure too. Because I didn't go to college to be an interior designer or a stager. I just took a quick crash course, and then I was learning on the job. So I had spent a year building my own book of business and having my own clients. And it was a really difficult year because I was learning how to manage a website, learning how to manage invoicing clients, learning how to do accounting and receiving payments, learning how to create and have contracts for my clients that laid out, this is how I work, you pay me, these are the services, this is what I do, this is what I don't do. So there was a lot of challenges that I had, things that I really had to learn how to do. And I was really working a lot of hours while I was raising my children. And I was feeling a bit overwhelmed and a bit stressful. And it just so happened, I said to a girlfriend of mine, I had gotten a client who was a real estate investor, and he had a lot of vacant properties that he needed to be staged, and it was way over my head. So I called upon other stagers that I thought could collaborate with me, and I could share this book of business with them. We could all work together and we could all make money. And me and the other stagers were talking together about how we were going to share this client and different aspects and avenues and processes that we could put into place. And I made the comment offhand. I was like, look, I have no ego in any of this. I don't need to run my own business. I'd be just as happy working for HGTV and designing for a television show, you know, incognito, like without anything. And the next day, that friend that I made that comment to sent me an audition notice from Craigslist that HGTV was going to
Wow.
start filming in the Washington, D.C. area, and they were auditioning hostesses for a television show on staging. You can't make this stuff up. So I was like, score! I can do this. So
just from a passing comment.
From a passing comment. The
You
next
didn't even like think, you weren't even like trying. You didn't think much of it. You were just like, yeah, I'd be pretty happy doing this, you know. Yeah, whatever.
I don't want to deal with owning my own
Wow.
business and dealing with clients. And so she sent me the ad and I went and I auditioned for it. And I just wanted to give a good audition. I didn't want to embarrass myself. It was a walk and talk audition. And I was like, oh, okay, I did that well. I'm not embarrassed. And the next day, the producer called me out and said, can you come into our office? We want to talk with you about doing a behind the scenes role in creating the pilot. And I was like,
Wow.
yeah, I'd love to do that. So then I helped the executive producer create the pilot. And I'm like, you're not going to, and this is going to film here in the Washington, D.C. area. I was like, you're not going to launch this without me. Like, I'm working on this show with you. If you're launching this show here and I just helped you with the pilot. And he's like, Tracy, this is really hard. You're currently in the real estate and decorating industry. Television is hard. And I'm like, you can't make that decision for me. I have to make that decision for me. Long story short, he hired me on as the behind the scenes series designer for that television show. I was one of 2 designers hired on. So
Wow.
then I was an employee working for a company doing what I loved to doing. The show was on staging, and I had spent the last year and a half staging my caboodle off. And then I went to work for the television show.
Are you allowed to say what show it was?
I think so. It was HGTV's Get It Sold with Sabrina Soto.
Get It Sold. Wow.
Yeah, I think it only aired for like a year and a half. I worked on it for a little over a year. And then a colleague of mine, long story, but a colleague of mine, this is what I'm talking about, the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step. Colleague of mine learned that I was no longer working with a television show. And she said to me, I have a tiny staging company in Washington, D.C., but I'm going to move to Denver. If I run the office remotely from Denver, can you be the lead stager in D.C.? And then I built that business up with her for the following 4 years. I worked as a stager, and now I'm doing all vacant homes. Every home is vacant. And then we started doing model homes and homes for flippers and builders. And now I'm just staging vacant homes. And then I got a real estate license because I was interested in learning more about that. And I dabbled in real estate for a little bit. And I thought, oh, no, I don't like the real estate. I need to go back to the decorating. And then one of the original flippers that called me when I was talking to the team of stagers to service his book of business, he called me back and he said, Tracy, would you consider working for me exclusively to help design all of my flips by picking out the finishes and fixtures that would go into all these renovations? So then I went to work for him for a few years, and I did about 75 houses in a year, per year.
Wow.
But it's just through the connections. Like, he used me when I was a stager, when I first started staging. And then just one thing just kept leading to another. And as I look back on the journey, it seems like, oh, it was such a nice, fluid process. But as you're moving through it and you don't know what the next step is and you don't know where you're going, it doesn't seem so easy and fluid. So my takeaway from that was, be here now, as Eckhart Tolle says. Like, just stay in the moment. Don't think about what's next. Just do what's in front of you right now. So, yeah. So my role as a stager evolved one step at a time organically, as everyone's career does. You take the first step, and then you just take the next step and then the next step, and you just keep evolving.
And now, how do you stay in the moment?
Kind of as simple as it sounds, simple but not easy, right? I don't think about tomorrow. I just don't think about tomorrow. Because if I do, I get scared. I even get scared. Because even with COVID, I think, oh my gosh, okay, COVID, the political scene. Is the real estate industry still going to need staging? Is this, if I allow myself to head trip into the future, I start to get nervous. But if I just stay right here today, it's a beautiful day, it's a weekend. Monday, I start a new fabulous project with the company. I now work for a staging company here in Northern Virginia. I live 25 miles outside of Washington, DC. And I've got projects coming up. I've got projects lined up for the next few weeks. And I just stay right here, right now. And I'm like, yay, I just finished a fun project last week. Yay. And I've got another new fun project to work on. And every time boss lady calls me up and says, we have another project, I'm like, yay. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And then I feel that excitement. It's like, yay, the next project. And then I'm in that project and I stay in that project.
I love that.
Simple but not easy. Simple but not easy to stay in the now. Just stay what you're focused on.
Simple but not easy. I think that's absolutely right. I'm definitely one to be anxious over pretty much anything and everything. I am one who tends to think a year down the road, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road. I try not to do that as much because when you're so focused on the things that are making you anxious, and if you're so focused on things that you're not certain of, it really affects your behavior in a very negative way. For example, if like for me, when if I was dating someone and I didn't know what was coming next, like, are we moving in a serious direction? Are we not moving in a serious direction? And I just consume my mind thinking about something so like menial, something that really is insignificant. I could have been instead thinking about things that mattered and working on things that were going to move me forward.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. It's simple, but it's not easy. Though when you
struggle with it, like I've not mastered it.
Yeah. Does anybody ever really master anything?
I don't know. I hope that some of us master some things, but I don't think all of us master everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. Do you think that reflecting on your past helps stay in the moment?
No.
Not at all?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
I think digging into my past and looking into my past and into my present to say what used to thrill me. Oh, I'm sorry. My lighting here is kind of funky. I got the sun coming in. I think it was only good for me and beneficial when I would say, what signs were in my past? Where in my past did I get a thrill? Where in my present do I get a thrill? What energizes me? What excites me in this moment? I think only does looking in the past serve as a beneficial tool is when I'm looking to look at past patterns or at past preferences so that I can find my today's answer. But I've already found today's answer. So for me today, right here, right now, I'm a stager. And so I'm doing that right now. Now, do I still have fun when old music comes up and I remember the choreography? Oh my God, yeah! Like I can still go into the past and have fun with that. And thank God for Facebook, I can still keep in touch with my dancer friends and joke and enjoy the fun memories, but I don't fall there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's definitely something to be said about dwelling on the past and bringing up negative emotions, which does not serve you in the moment. If you're dwelling on the past and you're stuck there, then you need to become aware of when you're doing that and think of the logical next step to get yourself out of that mindset. Even if it's a distraction, like taking a walk. But if you are looking at your past in a reflective way that serves you, and you're looking at patterns to help you with today's answer, in that case, it's beneficial. So I would say when someone is working on staying in the moment, and whether they find themselves thinking about the future or thinking about the past, to become really cognizant of whether their experience is negative or positive. Because if it's negative, then you probably are dwelling or you're being anxious about the future. So you need to get out of that mindset in order to focus on what's important today in the here and now.
Yeah, I think there's always light ahead. And sometimes when we're in the moment and we don't have the answers, it can feel a little bit dark and scary, but just light does come. The answers do come. This too shall pass. Like when you're in that muck of not knowing what to do next, you'll keep moving forward. Try anything. Just keep moving.
I really appreciate several times through this live stream you've said, think about the logical next step. Just think about the logical next step.
Yeah. I think that's
because I think it's easy to get caught up in your own anxieties from the past and future and think about like, I don't know what it is, what I want to do. It's easy to get really overwhelmed. Do you ever find yourself getting overwhelmed? Do you ever find yourself getting caught up in your own thoughts? And how do you break that cycle for yourself?
Overwhelmed with life, sure.
I love it.
Yeah.
Overwhelm yourself with life.
Oh my God, yes, on the daily. But then I have to remind myself, right here, it's a beautiful sunny fall day. I'm having this fantastic conversation with you. I live in this super cute condo. Everyone that I know of is doing well, and we're all smiling today, and we all have our own journeys that we're on. And with the help of some friends, I'm getting through my journey too. One thing that I have extreme gratitude for is that I have personally made it over the hump of, I don't know if that wording is right, but I was blessed to have had all my dreams come true as a dancer. And then I was able to move on and find another creative outlet for myself and have another career for myself. So right now, I'm very comfortable with where I am regarding my career as a stager. I know that I'm in the flow, I'm where I belong, my talents are at their best use. I get energized by work, not to say that I don't have challenges at work. I still have challenges. There's bumpy days. There's days when I think, holy cow, I really have to throw this 8x10 rug over my shoulder and move it.
Yeah.
I'm getting too old for this. Please give me the physical strength to do this. There are moments, like within any career, and everybody has their moments, but I made it through that challenge in life where as an entertainer and a performer, I had to segue into another career and even segue into another identity. I had to embrace the role of mother, and I had to now embrace the role and identity of stager. And now I'm beginning to embrace the role of 50s plus, like being over 50, okay, life, your identity keeps expanding. You keep adding more titles to it. You don't let go of one or put one to rest, but you just add to it.
Okay. Couple key things. You said the word gratitude, and that is exactly what I was thinking when I was thinking about whether looking into your past serves as a tool for finding the answer today and now. That's what Lori and I had talked about, is having gratitude to help you move forward in your life, having gratitude to help put yourself in the correct mindset in order to serve yourself. And so I'm really glad you brought that up. But holy cow, what a golden phrase. Your identity, you don't let go of your identity, you add to it, you expand your identity. That is
Yeah.
such a wonderful way to think about it.
Because I think for us dancers and entertainers, we don't want to let go of that. We don't want that to die.
Right.
And so I think it's important to know that you don't ever let go of that. That stays with you. If you're a singer, if you're a dancer, if you're an actor, if you do voiceovers, like if you're a rigger, if you're a technician, if you're an audio engineer, if you're a lighting designer, if you're a director, a scene designer, and you're segueing, you don't lose that. You just expand. That comes with you. You keep that and you expand on it. So I think for a lot of, at least in my world, when I was going through the transition, a lot of my dancer friends were really struggling with their identity dying, or with no longer being that. Like that was a psychological struggle. And so when you think about, oh, it doesn't die, it comes with you. You just keep evolving, and you're just going to add another title onto it, add another role, add another layer. I just think psychologically it's easier for a person to transition.
I could not have said that better.
Okay.
Myself. That is just, I think what you said is what everyone needs to hear. And you listed everybody in the entertainment industry, because this is what we're all going through at the same time right now. And you're not going through this in COVID, but you did go through the transition and the pivot a while back. And so you are familiar with the emotions, you're familiar with the identity crisis, you're familiar with that tug and pull of letting go of yourself, of who you once were, and then embracing something new. And it's so perfect that you say your identity doesn't die. Roles that you have don't die. They go with you. They go with you, and you just keep expanding. That, I cannot think of just a better way to like wrap all of this together in the beautiful package. Tracy, I am so glad that you were here to talk about this live. This was so incredible.
Yeah.
I honestly, I was getting a little teary, because it's just, I feel it. I feel it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people feel it too.
Yeah. I feel your audience. Like, I can't imagine being an entertainer right now and having the platform to do, or to be, involved in the arts in any way, and your platform is removed. And so some people can just say, okay, I'm going to put this on hold and do something else more fun and creative until it comes back. But you're right. Some people are asking the hard question, is it time now for me to change careers? And it's not an easy journey for everyone. It can be difficult. So I don't want any of your audience members to think that it's a quick fix, or it's easy. It's a process.
Yeah. Well, I honestly think this is the perfect time to wrap up this live stream. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. Everybody, you can connect with Tracy Kay on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Her handle is @TracyK. You can also check out her website at www.tracykaygriffin.com. Please don't forget to subscribe to Industry Explorers on YouTube, and share this with all of your fellow artists, all of your fellow creatives, all of your fellow thespians. Everybody needs to hear Tracy's insights. And Tracy, do you have any closing remarks? Because I've just found this all to be very beautiful.
Thank you for having me. I think this is an amazing platform for the people who are going to make the transition. Just keep asking yourself what gives you energy. Keep reaching out to friends, and keep trying new things. It will come.
I absolutely love that. Tracy, it was so great having you. Thank you so much. And my fellow explorers, keep on exploring and taking action. And I will see you guys on our next adventure. Take care.